The rain poured in steady sheets, drenching the quiet streets of Paris until every light shimmered against the slick cobblestones. The Seine moved dark and restless beside the walkway, its ripples catching fragments of gold from the street lamps. Elena stood motionless by the stone railing, her hair clinging damp to her cheeks, her coat heavy with water. She barely noticed the cold. Her mind was somewhere far away, tangled in memories she had tried for weeks to lock away. She had told herself she was only here to think, to breathe. But deep down she knew she was standing exactly where her heart had hoped to be found. The rain blurred the world into soft shapes and muffled sounds. It swallowed the echo of approaching footsteps, so she didn't hear him until he was almost there. Still, something inside her shifted before his voice even reached her. That strange, undeniable pull, like the air between them was wired to her heartbeat. Running away from me again? His voice was warm, familiar, carrying the kind of smile that could undo her without warning. But there was something else beneath it. A quiet challenge. A sharp edge that made her pulse race. Slowly she turned, and there he was, Lucas, his hair plastered to his forehead, water sliding down the strong lines of his face, his eyes fixed on her as if nothing else in the city existed. For a moment the rain stopped mattering. The lights, the night, even the city itself faded into nothing. All that remained was the way he was looking at her, with the weight of every word they hadn't said. They stood there in silence, the kind that hummed with tension, as if the air between them was too full to carry speech. The storm pressed against them from all sides, but it felt like they were in the center of something still and fragile. Lucas took a step forward, then another, each one pulling her deeper into the gravity she had been trying so hard to resist. When his hand brushed against hers, it wasn't an accident. His fingers lingered, warm despite the rain, sending a sharp rush through her chest. She wanted to pull back, to break the moment before it broke her, but she didn't. She let her hand remain there, let the quiet connection speak louder than her fear. And as his nearness closed in, as his eyes searched hers with that unshakable intensity, Elena realized she wasn't running anymore. Not from him. Not from this. The rain could fall forever and it still wouldn't wash him from her. The rain fell harder, streaming down their faces, dripping from their lashes, yet neither of them moved away. Lucas's breath was uneven, his chest rising and falling. Like each inhale was a battle against the pull between them. Elena's pulse pounded in her ears, louder than the steady rush of the Seine behind them. He stepped closer until his body was almost pressed against hers, the heat of him radiating through the damp layers of her coat. His eyes searched hers, not rushing, just holding her there in that fragile moment, as if making sure she wouldn't slip away. His hand rose slowly, fingertips brushing her cheek. The warmth of his skin was a shock after the chill of the rain, and she leaned into it without thinking. His thumb traced the curve of her lower lip, sending a shiver racing down her spine. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The way he looked at her told her everything. The longing he'd held back for too long, the ache of every day they'd been apart, the stubborn certainty that this was where they were meant to be. Then his mouth was on hers. The kiss was deep, fierce, and hungry, not the kind meant for careful control, but the kind that steals your breath and makes the world dissolve. She felt the taste of rain on his lips, the mingling heat of their breaths, the way his hands tightened at her waist as if anchoring her to him. Her back met the cold, rough stone of the wall behind her, but the sensation only made his touch feel hotter, more urgent. She clutched at the front of his coat, pulling him closer still, their bodies molding together in the space between them. Every second of that kiss seemed to pour months of silence and distance into one wild, unbroken rush. The sound of the city was gone, swallowed by the storm and the thundering beat of her heart. When he finally pulled back, it was only enough to rest his forehead against hers. Their breaths mingled, both of them trembling from more than just the cold. His voice was low, rough with emotion when he spoke. "I'm not letting you go again." The words weren't just a promise. They were a vow spoken into the space between their lips, sealed by the kiss they both knew would never be their last. And standing there, drenched in the Paris rain, Elena believed him.